The most recent installment of Marty and Wendy Byrde's misadventures arrived on Netflix back on the 23rd of February and left fans wanting more. Ozark showrunner Chris Mundy has just added to the fans' anticipation by revealing what's going to happen next in Season 4. Stick around to the end of the video to find out everything you need to know about Ozark Season 4 Part 2. So, when does Season 4 Part 2 come out? After waiting for nearly 2 years, Ozark's fourth and final season is finally here, and the Netflix crime drama is not wasting any time in bringing the Byrde's family narrative to a climax. Season 4 was split into 2 halves. Despite the fact that it was expanded from the regular 10 episodes to 14, it was a compromise between the producers and Netflix, as Ozark creator Chris Mundy previously explained to TV Line. Now that many fans have watched the first half of the latest season, a lot of them are wondering when Part 2 will be released. Ozark Season 4 Part 2 will premiere on April 29, 2022. The final 7 episodes of Ozark will be released on streaming services roughly 3 months after the premiere of Part 1. According to series producer Chris Mundy, Part 2 will pick up right after the events of Part 1. The speedy release date will undoubtedly come as no surprise to devout fans, who may recall Jason Bateman, the actor who plays Marty Byrde, revealing during an interview with Jimmy Kimmel that the date was not yet announced, but it'll be kinda soon, I think. Ozark's creators are also most likely hoping to get the final season contention for the Emmys in 2022, which means they'll need to have aired the entire season by May 31st to meet eligibility requirements. Now for a quick recap, just in case you need a quick reminder of everything that went down in Season 4 Part 1, and judging by how much stuff happened in the first 7 episodes, we're pretty sure you do. Here's a quick recap to catch you up to date. Part 1 of Ozark Season 4 was a wild ride filled with everything from 1-minute phone calls that put every plan the Byrdes had put in place in the previous 60 minutes to rest, to nausea-inducing scenes between Darlene Snell and Wyatt. Everything we've grown to know and love about Ozark, Season 4 had it all. Ruth Langmore has always been the #1 suspect of blowing up the Byrdes' money laundering business. Ruth has been at times an unlikely friend and at times a foe to the Byrdes, but it looks like she's finally reached the point of no return. Ruth has been subjected to her fair share of torture in past seasons. First, she lost the guy she loved the most, Ben, and now she's lost her cousin Wyatt, who was brutally murdered by Javi Elizondo for his ties to the deranged heroin queen Darlene Snell. Is the Byrde family to blame for Wyatt's death? We can take turns pointing fingers later, but the threat remains. Ruth is on the prowl, and she has nothing to lose. If the Byrdes are serious about leaving their laundering days behind and pursuing a squeaky clean career in Chicago, running the philanthropic Byrde Foundation with Shaw Medical Funds, they'll have to deal with a seething Langmore first. So, what does the trailer tell us? Since the cliffhanger at the end of Season 4 Part 1, we've been on edge. Ruth chastised the Byrdes for their heinous habit of ruining her life, most recently by partnering up with the ruthless cartel boss who murdered her cousin. Ruth attacked Marty and Wendy after discovering Wyatt and Darlene shot dead in Darlene's house. Ruth is hell-bent on vengeance, even if it means being killed. The trailer for Part 2 has done us no favors and has left fans even more on edge. In the minute-long trailer, we are cryptically promised that the end arrives sooner than you think. Ruth also speaks openly about who she is and where she comes from, which is going to be a treat for fans. She confronts Marty and Wendy, who try to calm her down in the snippet. Many people are left wondering if this season will indeed be the end for the Byrde family after seeing this teaser. According to a teaser released by Netflix, Ruth knows the odds are stacked against her, but what else does she have to live for now that the Langmores have been taken out? In regards to the Byrdes, we're still unsure about how they ended up in the car crash that kicked off Season 4. Wendy must figure out how to get herself out of trouble with the private detective investigating her brother's disappearance, and whether the entire family is being investigated for money laundering. Fortunately, we only have to wait a few more months to find out what happens next. What to expect from Season 4 Part 2? Part 2 picks up right as the FBI starts to close in on the criminal Byrde clan, with Ruth caught up in the wreckage caused by the deaths of Wyatt and Darlene, and the Byrdes' complicity in their murder due to ties with the Navarro clan. The show is destined to end with a bang. After a bloodbath at the end of Season 3, Navarro Helen is no longer in the picture, and the Byrdes have taken control of the Navarro business. But as they consider another way out of the Ozarks, it's evident their past isn't done with them. Fans have a lot of questions leading into the final few episodes of Ozark, and the show's makers appear optimistic that all of these questions will be answered, and that the brewing family conflicts from the previous 3 seasons will be resolved in a dramatic but hopefully fulfilling way. Wendy's shame will play a major role in Part 2 of the series. According to showrunner Mundy, she's still grieving her brother's death, whom she's now referring to as a drug addict to anyone who's willing to listen to her ramblings. Many believe if Wendy continues on her downward spiral, she will put her relationship with Marty and her children in jeopardy. It looks like the Byrdes are going to be imploding sooner rather than later, now that most of the pieces have been put in place. Now, let's dive into some theories. Could Mel Sedum be the one to take out the mighty Byrdes? Mel Sedum may prove to be the Byrdes' undoing. Mel Sedum was originally looking for Helen Pierce, a former cartel lawyer who was slain at the end of season 3, but when he started looking into the Byrdes, he stumbled across something much bigger than he expected. Mel realizes that Marty and Wendy may have connections with the Navarro cartel in part 1 of season 4, and his perseverance as well as his past as a former police officer make him the ideal choice to unearth the Byrdes' connections to Helen's killing. Mel definitely began drawing the links when Angela Maya Miller arrested Omar Navarro at the end of part 1. Even though the Byrdes continually stonewalled Mel, he showed up at their house several times over the season. He's unlikely to let up now because he has not only figured out what happened to Helen, but he also has a new lead on a far bigger case that could earn him respect and provide him with the personal gratification of uncovering a serious crime. What is Ruth's fate in season 4? Ruth's fate still hangs in the balance at the end of Ozark season 4 part 1. However, Jonah Byrde could be to blame for her death. In the aftermath of his Uncle Ben's death, Jonah's resentment towards his mother prompts him to join the Snell heroin business alongside Ruth and Wyatt Langmore. Ruth appears to be destined to die in Ozark season 4 part 2, and it may happen early on. Ruth is one of Marty's only friends outside of his immediate family. Even though they're on opposing sides in Ozark season 4 part 1, Marty definitely cares for her. Javi killing Ruth could send a message to the Byrdes that they are not safe, and Jonah being the one who unintentionally caused it reinforces the underlying notion that the Byrdes are Ozark's true villains. Lastly, what was the true meaning behind the car crash? The first scene of Ozark season 4 appears to have nothing to do with the remaining 7 episodes. Chris Mundy, the showrunner, stated that he wanted to wait to revisit it for several reasons, one of which is the idea that anything horrible can happen to anyone at any time. The accident at the start of Ozark season 4 part 1 could be a red herring. While the automobile accident will undoubtedly play a role in the conclusion of Ozark season 4 part 2, it will not be the event that takes the Byrdes to their knees. It will, however, leave them in a weaker position, making it more difficult for them to fight back against the onslaught of enemies slowly approaching them. That's a wrap for this video. Are you excited for the second half of Ozark season 4? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.